All right, so our next problem here, we have a woman bought some large frames for $17 each and some small frames for $8 each at a closeout sale. If she bought 22 frames for $239, find how many of each type she bought. So we know that she bought two types of frames, large frames and small frames. So we're going to let's let L instead of X and Y. L represent large frames. And we're going to let S represent the small frames. All right, so how are we going to set up our system of equations? So we know the cost of each one, but we don't know how many of each type that she bought. But we know that she bought a total of 22 frames. So what we're going to do is we're going to first set up our equation with the number to represent the number of frames that she bought. So we know that she bought some large frames and she bought some small frames. We don't know how many of each, but we know she bought 22 frames altogether. So that is our first equation. Now our second equation is going to represent the cost. So we know that altogether she spent $239. We know the cost of each frame, but we don't know how much each frame size cost. Okay, so we're going to represent, we know that the large frames were $17, but we don't know how many she purchased. We know that the small frames were $8. We don't know how many she purchased of the small frames, but we know that she spent $239. So this is our linear system. So how I would solve this equation, I would use the elimination method. I would eliminate a variable. And the variable that I'm going to eliminate will be the S to start off because we need to find out how many of each type she bought. So since I want to eliminate the variable S, it means I'm going to convert the first equation and I want to multiply the first equation by 8, but I just don't want 8 because I want this to negate, cancel out. It has to be negative 8. So let's distribute the negative 8. We have negative 8L minus 8S equals to 22 times negative 8, which gives us negative 176. We're keeping the second equation the same. Now let's look at our S's. They are negating, so it cancels out. And we're going to add negative 8L to 17L, which gives us 9L equals to, we have negative 176 plus 239. That gives us 63. And when we divide by 9 to both sides, L is 7. So at this moment now, we know how many large frames she purchased. She purchased 7 large frames. Now we need to find out how many small frames she purchased. So we need to find S. So go back to one of the original equations, plug 7 in for L. So 7 plus S is equal to 22. Subtract 7 to both sides. And we have S is equal to 15. So this woman purchased 15 small frames. And there we go. If you need to check your work, plug 15 in for S, 7 in for L, add those together, we get 22, and then you can also plug it into the second equation as well.